Thank you. Thank you so much for showing up. I imagine you have a lot going on right now, and you're here with me. I want to honor your time by giving you a ton of value and inspiring you to transform your relationship with money so that you can truly, truly, truly become a money hero. I promise it's going to be worth your time and energy. Absolutely. You're going to leave this workshop having a clear sense of where you are on your money hero's journey and which money archetype is leading the pack. And you're going to have immediate action steps you can take to strengthen your relationship with money. How does that sound? One of my favorite sayings from a mentor of mine is, well, actually, I think it was Andy Warhol that said this, but it's 80% of success is simply showing up. And that means put down your cell phones. Have a notepad in front of you so that you can take notes. And just be willing to have an open mind and an open heart. We're going to go on this journey together, and I want you to be present. You can't take in all this information if you're surfing the web or if you're cleaning your house or if you're cooking. So really give yourself this time. This may be the first time you have ever considered money in this way. You know, money in my world of financial therapy is considered the last taboo. When I go to dinner parties, more people are comfortable talking about their sex lives than they are talking about money. I understand. I get it. Like, I used to struggle talking about money. It can bring up a lot of embarrassment and shame and guilt and fear. Fear is a big one. Lots of people feel overwhelmed and, to be honest, sick and tired. That's what I hear a lot of times, that they're sick and tired of having to struggle all the time. Can you relate with all of this? Have any of these things happened to you? And how do you experience money? This workshop is packed with a ton of content, so you don't want to miss anything. Whether you are aware of this or not, you are on a journey of a lifetime. You may reach this goal of becoming a money hero, you might not. And you may become a money hero, or you might stay struggling. That is up to you. But I'm going to do my best to hold your hand. We are in this together. And I think that's one of the hard things with money. We feel like we're doing it all alone. But you've taken this step. This is a first courageous step by showing up. And now let's keep stepping forward together. I want you to feel like I have your back. By the end of our time together, you will know where you are on this map with money, and we'll go through all the 9 money archetypes so that you can see which one is driving the car and how you can get all of them working together, or maybe even a couple of them you need to kick into the back seat of the car or completely out of the car altogether. Knowing all of your 9 money archetypes is very important. And it's first because it allows you to see some of the unconscious behaviors that you might have that are kind of getting in the way of you being healthy with your money. And secondly, we're not alone in this world, and especially in this money world. And you're going to encounter people that don't function with money the same as you. And they may be people in your family or in your work life. And this work will build compassion and empathy with them. Are you with me? Do you want to stop judgments around money? What if there was no right way to be with money? It was just a way that you could be as healthy as you possibly can. Knowing where you're going and how to get there is super important. I mean, most leaders and coaches will often say you need to know where you're going. And that's the same with money. But most of us have no clue where we're going with money, or we don't even think that money is a journey. You go to work, you make money, and you spend it, right? Like, that's how most people think. And money comes in for some more than others, and it goes out for some more than others. And usually, I would say money is limited to 4 things: to save it, to spend it, to invest it, and to give away. But I do want to tell you right now that that really, truly is about 5% of what money really is about in a deeper and more powerful way. And at this end of this workshop, you will have something that no one can take away from you ever again. And it's not $1 million. It's worth more than $1 million. You see, life happens, and we lose our jobs, we get sick, sometimes we receive an inheritance, and money comes and goes, and it ebbs and flows. But what if no matter what happened with money, you would not lose your sense of self, your balance, or your joy? This is kind of like that foundational piece of becoming a master with your money. And that's really what I'm all about. And that's what I'm teaching. Are you with me? Does that sound like a worthy time investment? It's truly amazing what happens when you put the time and focus on this place in your life. You will never regret it. But before I go any further, I want to share a little bit about myself to give you some context and why you should even listen to me. Is that okay with you? Great. So I've been a money coach and a financial therapist since 2010. I work with high net worth individuals to just average Joes that make an average earning. I have a successful coaching practice. I love working with my clients. I speak and I educate people on how to create healthy relationships with money every single day. And my deep passion is to be a steward of money so that it creates connection in our communities and joy for everyone that interacts with it. I get to work with people that are creating change in powerful ways, like really amazing leaders on this planet. And my clients are some of the most inspiring of them all. I've seen couples ready to call it quits. But now, I even just heard recently from one of my clients that they are having the best relationship they've ever had after working with me with the money. And that was I love hearing those stories. We become resilient in our intimate relationships once we're working with money because money touches everything. It's not just the bank account. It has been the most rewarding work of my life, and it continues to blow me away every single day. You, as my clients, inspire me like no business. But it hasn't always been like that. You see, I would have to say, what you're going to soon discover, that I am the fool archetype. That's one of the archetypes that used to run my life with money. Throughout my life, I've been in and out of debt. I was a registered massage therapist way back in the early 90s, and I've stayed in practice for over 20 years. And I had a full practice back then. I was booked 6 months out, and I worked 6 days a week, but I had $50,000 of debt, and I couldn't work any harder than I already was. And I was swimming in debt, and it was getting bigger and bigger. I had credit card debt, student loans, car loans. I sat down one day and I did the math, and at the rate that I was going, if I stopped creating any more debt, which kind of is hard, life happens, especially if you're in debt. But at that rate, I would have paid off my debt in 25 years. And it felt awful. I was like, I can't be in debt forever. I was a respected therapist, but I totally felt like a failure, and everything was secret. No one knew that I had so much debt. So the only thing that I could think of doing is I sold everything I owned and I left the country. I moved to Seoul, Korea. That's right. I just gave everything away. My plan was I was going to go teach English and travel and pay off debt. It was amazing. I didn't end up teaching English, but I ended up getting into the voice industry in Asia, and I became a transformational teacher and coach. And my life was amazing. It was amazing there in Korea. As a speaker and a voice actor and a facilitator, I could easily make $2,000 in a day. Sometimes I would make $10,000 in a weekend, but I also lived very opulently, and I spent a lot of it. I paid off my debt, though, and I traveled, and I lived really well. And I lived in Asia for about 8 years and made a lot of money. But in the very shortest period of time, I could be in $40,000 of debt again, and then scramble to make money and get out of debt, and then I'd find myself in $30,000 of debt. It was like a roller coaster, and I had no idea how money worked. I didn't relate with it at all. I'll admit this, but I got involved in some questionable investment schemes in China. They weren't on the level. I gave a ton of money to people I barely knew with the hope of doubling it really fast. But that money I never did see again, and nor did I see those people again. And it was a pretty corrupt investment scheme that I just hadn't done my research. There's my fool in me. That's my fool coming out, trying to get a quick fix really fast. What I noticed, though, is I wasn't building anything that I was proud of. I wasn't nurturing the people and the things in my life. And I was so disconnected from reality. I had so little compassion or empathy for the struggles of other people, and nothing felt valuable or important to me. So when I returned to North America, because I started in the States, and then I came back to Canada after living abroad, I was faced with this harsh reality that I needed to figure out this money thing. It was this crazy energy I didn't understand, and I felt at a loss. Had no idea where to start. It was just I felt like I was at square one again. But it was around that time that I realized what my life work was about. Things were going to change. I had what some people would call an awakening, or in a way, it felt like a slap in the face. It woke me up. Something happened that I could not ignore. It was like I'd been hit by lightning. I was taking this course, and I was basically told by the powers that be, my inner self, my higher self, or divine source, or however you want to call it, that my purpose in life was to shift how we relate with money on this planet, so that it could become a way for us to create connection and love with each other and the planet. I was totally in shock. I knew nothing about money, and I was challenged by it, but every part of me knew that this was supposed to be my life's work. I don't know if you've ever had moments in your life where something was so true that you couldn't deny it, and you felt it in every cell of your body. That's what happened to me. And this awareness and this mission that I'm on continues to get stronger and stronger every day. So what happened after I got the slap in the face that was my mission, my first step was to figure out, how do you do it? So I hired a money coach. I took about 10 books out a week from the library, and I studied everything I can get my hands on. And for the next 2 years, I took training to become a certified financial planner. I became a certified money coach. I certified in any course that worked on the emotional relationship with money that I can get my hands on. I had lots of time as a student soaking up everything. But the financial therapy thing is pretty new. Not too many people are doing it. So what you're going to learn in this workshop has been developed over 10 years of research with my own and my client work. Uncovering the emotional terrain of hundreds of clients has helped create this roadmap that you're going to be on. We are still at the beginning of understanding and rewiring our relationship with money, but my hope is that this will guide you and create a level of clarity that you have never had before. So what do you think? Are you ready? Are you ready to locate yourself on the Money Heroes journey and see where you are and who you are on this journey too? All right, I'm ready. So I just want you to put your feet on the ground, close your eyes, tap into your body, take a deep breath in, filling your lungs out, and exhale. And let's go on this journey together. Let's begin. We are all on a heroic journey of awakening to our power with money. And to become a money hero, you need to go through the journey. You need to go through the trials and tribulations in order to step into your own money hero. No one's born a hero. But some people have a really painful journey with money. Lots of my clients live in constant stress and worry about paying the bills. Arguments with their spouse happen on a regular basis, or they don't talk about it at all, and it's this quiet, secret stressor around anything. Or working hard, always working hard and never getting ahead. The old saying that I don't have enough money at the end of the month I have more month than I have money. I think that's how it goes. Bankruptcy is a huge one for a lot of people, and most people that I talk to have some level of debt. Sometimes it's suffocating and sometimes it's manageable, but they have debt. And, everything can feel so daunting when it comes to money unless you know how to deal with it, you understand, and you are in a healthy relationship with it. Does that sound familiar to you? So what are you experiencing with money right now? I'm pretty sure that you have not thought of yourself as a money hero, or you might not be on this call. Or maybe you have. I can't make that assumption. What do you think a money hero is? Some people might say it's a philanthropist. They have that Midas touch and can change anything into gold. Or maybe people that are rich and they give their money away. That's a money hero. What's a money hero to you? We're going to discover what a true money hero looks like. But life itself is a quest. We're always wanting something. We're always moving towards something. Most of us are. And money plays a big role in that quest. So essentially, we're all on a money quest. It's everywhere. Did you know that we each have to interact with money on an average of 32 times a day? That's crazy. And we're not even conscious of it. We're usually half asleep when we're thinking about money. I want to share with you the 12 stages of your money hero's journey. You could be at the very beginning of the journey or somewhere in the middle, but reaching the final stage of the money journey, you will not only have more knowledge and capacity to make more money, but you will also have something even more valuable, a positive relationship with money that brings you joy, peace, and a whole lot of confidence. Now, does that sound like something you would like to have with your money? Great. Let's get going. The 12 stages are evident in almost every movie and story. We all watch movies. They're great entertainment. These 12 stages of the hero's journey are in the Bible. They're in any of the great historical figures that we encounter. And most movies have at least some of these 12 stages. And money is deeply part of our mythology as a human in this world. And these 12 stages also run deeply through our money journey. So yes, you are on a money hero's journey. We all are. You're going to be in a relationship with money your whole life, so you can master it and become the hero in the story. Or you could just be meandering around and become a supporting character. It's up to you. I do have a bit of a warning, though. If you were thinking that I was going to be money light, you might want to think again. We each are unique and complicated and full of surprises. So why do you think this money stuff would be different? Are you ready? Are you ready to really dig deep and come on this adventure together? Well, hold on, baby. Let's go. Let's go for a ride. I'm going to give you an overview of the 12 stages just so you know where we are going. And throughout each of these stages, the money archetypes can show up. But just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to keep things clear and let's just do the hero's journey as an overview, and then we'll unpack each one of the archetypes. Deal? How does that sound? Great. The first stage of this journey is when you are in the ordinary world. That means you don't know anything about money. You don't even know you're on a journey. You haven't really set yourself up in the money world. You could be married where you never have to deal with money. It's taken care of. Or you're a kid and your parents buy you everything and take care of your clothes and your food. Or maybe even you're a trust fund baby where money's just on a credit card and you just use it and you don't understand. If you are in the first stage or the ordinary world, you're probably an innocent with money. In most stories, it's before anything interesting happens. Dorothy is in Kansas, Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, living in the colonies. Harry Potter is in the Muggle world, living under the stairs. I hope at least one of these movies resonates with you. There are so many movies I could use as an example, but these are 3 classics that follow the money hero's journey or the hero's journey to a T. So are you with me? Do you remember when you lived in the ordinary world completely unaware of the money in your life? This is when 2 of the money archetypes are most present, and we'll talk about the money archetypes later, but these 2 are the innocent and or the orphan, but we will explore those later. So the second stage in the journey is the call to action. This is when you have to leave home and strike out on your own. You need to get a job. You may have been pushed into it, like you might have a divorce or a bankruptcy, and you're pushed into this adventure. In the movies, it's when Harry Potter gets the letter delivered to him from Hogwarts, like he was getting that call, or Dorothy in Kansas meets the traveling magician who shows her about a different world, a different possibility. Or Luke is told about having to go rescue Princess Leia. For us, with money, it's when we are asked to step into a new way of being from the old. This may be an inciting incident. That's what they say in screenplays or books. Something happens that wakes you up from the ordinary world. And we're all probably have many, many, many calls to adventure throughout our lives. And that knocking on the door, call to adventure, does that sound familiar to you? Have you had a call to adventure? I know I have had many throughout my life. When I discovered this money work was my life purpose, that was a big call to adventure. However, with money, it's when I needed to leave home and I needed to find a job to support myself. I think that was the first one for me. Now, the third stage in the Money Hero's journey is the refusal of the call. Have you had the opportunity to step into a new way of being? It could be a job, a new place, and refused it because you were afraid. And this is when you put your head in the sand and you ignore all this debt piling up. That's a big refusal of the call with money. It's when we don't know how to act, so we don't do anything. We refuse to step into the unknown. For me, the refusal of the call was all the times I would do a crazy get-rich-quick attempt and spend a lot of money on it. Or I would rack up a ton of debt and then just work really hard to get out of it. I wasn't really actually looking at what was going on. And this is when Harry Potter doesn't believe he's a real wizard. Have you refused the call with money? Refusal can show up as overspending. It can be creating more debt, trying to find someone to rescue you, getting in a relationship because they have money and they can take care of you. Some people would beg and plead for more money from their family or friends. It is a scary place to be. We can refuse the call for a very long time for some of us, or it could be just for a split second or not at all. Sometimes we skip this stage completely. We might be very, very adventurous. The thing about refusing the call is that the call keeps coming. It's sometimes harder and harder to refuse it, but there'll come a time when you need to take the call. And that might be because of the fourth stage. This could be the tipping point that moves you into taking that call. And the fourth stage is when you meet your mentor. This is when something happens that becomes a crucial turning point. You may read a book that gives you an insight on how to do things differently, or you hear a podcast, or you meet someone that inspires you to take action. It's a boost, and a belief grows in you that you actually can do something differently, like you feel like you have the capacity. It could be that you hire a money coach, or if you finally feel like someone is pointing you in the right direction, you can go that direction. In The Wizard of Oz, that was when Dorothy meets Glinda the Good Witch and has the boost of the Munchkins to raise her spirits. In The Matrix, it's when Neo meets Morpheus. In Harry Potter, it's when Harry meets Hagrid. For me, it was when I hired a money coach. I didn't know I was refusing the call with money until I hired her. I was embarrassed to acknowledge how much I actually didn't know. And when I hired her, I felt empowered and supported. I could really take action in my money. Have you had time in your life when you were inspired to take action? When was it? The Money Hero's journey is not linear, and we can have many mentors that come across our path, but there is usually one that happens when you no longer can refuse the call. It's so compelling that you have to take action and do something different. Now, the fifth stage of the Money Hero's journey is crossing the threshold. This is when you commit to the journey with money. Even if you're scared and you don't know, it can be super scary. You step into this unfamiliar territory of money. There's no turning back now. You've started your money journey. And crossing the threshold can be forced upon you, like you have kids and your partner leaves you and you have to figure it out. Or you leave home and there's no more pretending that you're a kid anymore. For Dorothy, that is when she follows the yellow brick road. Harry Potter discovers that his parents were killed by Voldemort, and that pushes him into the journey. It's also because it becomes his why in a lot of Harry Potter. Neo takes the red pill and discovers that he was living in the Matrix. You can't really undo that one. You have crossed the threshold, and you have to go on this journey. This is the 5th stage. For some people, it's the first time they ask for support and help. They take a personal finance course, or they hire someone like me to hold their hand as they face this really unfamiliar world. Have you crossed the threshold yet? Are you on the journey, or are you still refusing the call? Where are you right now? What stage are you in? The 6th stage is a powerful stage after you cross the threshold. And this is where you meet your friends, your allies, your enemies, and those naysayers. And you face some of your biggest tests as well. When you start this money journey, you will meet all kinds of allies that want to support you, and they'll even go on the journey with you. You'll also meet people that don't believe in you and will judge any decision you make around money. They have their opinions. These are the enemies of the journey. The tests can arise as well. Very often a client will hire me and we begin this adventure and something happens. More often than not, it's like a car breaks down, or they need new tires, or they get sick, or something happens that puts a chink in their money flows. I know, and I believe this is one of the most fertile parts of the journey with money, and sticking with it is it'll pay off in the end. And some examples in movies is Harry Potter. It's when he befriends Hermione and Ron, and then he also has the enemies of Draco and his buddies. He struggles with teachers in school, and there's tons of tests throughout that whole movie. Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz meets the Tin Man and the Lion and the Scarecrow, and her enemies are the Wicked Witch and her monkeys. The tests are numerous along the way on the yellow brick road to Oz. Have you encountered a lot of tests with your money? Do you know who your allies are with money and who those are people that don't support you? Sometimes our money enemies can be lurking in our family unit, or even the financial institutions we work with, or even our financial planners sometimes. It's a crazy thing about money. If you can bring out, I think money can bring out the best and the worst in people. It can bring out the best and the worst in each of us as well. The 7th stage is the approach to the inmost cave. I like to call it the dark night of the soul, or being in the belly of the whale. This is when a setback happens and we have to retreat. We have to regain our strength and reassess who we are on the journey and why we're doing this in the first place. A setback with money can look like losing your job, or bankruptcy, or losing a lot of money, getting sick, divorce, betrayal. It can be depression or anxiety. If you feel rattled with guilt and shame and doubt, it could last a day where you just eat a whole bin of ice cream, or it can last many years. What's different about this setback is that you have crossed the threshold, so it becomes a deepening of your strength as a money hero. This is when the money hero will develop a new plan, adopt a new strategy, and pivot their business or be born anew. It's one of the most powerful stages of the journey after you cross the threshold. Strength is developed in this belly of the whale, and you have the courage to make difficult decisions. With Neo in the Matrix, he was told by the Oracle that Morpheus or himself may die, and he needed to decide on who. So it was a big decision. In The Lion King, we didn't talk about that story, Simba is asked to take the throne from Scar. So he's asked to step up, and he has to figure out where his strength is. And Harry Potter and his friends decide to get the Philosopher's Stone before Snape. If you watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But it is built into all of our mythology. We can find it anywhere. When you look at the dark night of the soul, it's in so many stories. For you, it can be an inward expression of resolve, especially with money. But it happens during a time of retreat, During the dark night of the soul, you are regaining your inner strength. And for some, this is when we pray or we find our connection to something bigger than just us. This stage prepares you for the 8th stage of the Money Hero's journey, and that's the ordeal. This is one of the climaxes of your Money Hero journey. It sometimes can feel like life or death, and it can be an inner struggle. It can be emotional, spiritual, or physical. And this is when you draw on all the skill and courage you gathered in the inmost cave. You really stepped into your money warrior. You are reborn into the Money Hero, and it is the high point of the journey. It's the high point of all movies. For some, it is that feeling of strength. You have overcome your beliefs that you didn't believe you could do it, and you are now in control of your finances. You really are leading your life with money. You may have a setback, but you don't give up, and you move into the next opportunity. This could look like pulling in your resources and stop spending as much, and you're focusing them on a goal. Talking about money with your partner and maybe not having an argument, or if you have an argument, you're staying focused and you find a place of connection even in the tension. That is like mastery a lot of times in a relationship. Getting out of debt is a big one, and seeing your savings increase, maybe even launching a business and feel the momentum of success. That's huge. In the ordeal, you are aware and present. You're confident and you're informed. In Harry Potter, it was when they arrived at the Philosopher's Stone and overcome all the obstacles to get there. In Star Wars, Princess Leia is rescued from Darth Vader, but Darth Vader also kills Obi-Wan Kenobi. So there's a drama in that. It's a climax of the movie. And then that brings us to the 9th stage. And this is the reward. You have won. You are transformed into a new state. It's when the hero song plays. You are stronger, more confident, and capable. You have both the joy and peace of reaching or accomplishing the goal. You feel like no matter what, you are confident with how the money in your life is working. You have become debt-free, maybe, or you have savings for unexpected things. You understand your money, you are tracking it, and you're on top of it each month. And you can have conversations about money and not feel uncomfortable. Money is part of how you relate with people in the world, and how you spend it is you're very empowered with how you spend it. In The Wizard of Oz, it is after she kills the witch and she gets the broom that she can bring back to the wizard, because he was going to send her home because she wants to go home. Now, after the reward, we go to the 10th stage, which is the road back. And this is when you are returning to your life with a new knowledge and confidence with money. The fear and doubt you had when you first started this journey, like maybe just as you were crossing the threshold or before, it's replaced with confidence, peace, and joy. You now have a strong foundation that you can trust. You will not go back to that fog or that confusion that you had around money ever again. This is when Dorothy clicks her shoes and says, "There's no place like home." She had the power within her all along. She just didn't know it. This road back highlights that you are forever changed, knowing that you have peace, joy, and confidence with money no matter what. Like no one can take it away from you. And then this brings us to the 11th stage. It's called the resurrection. Some movies have this stage, some don't, but every money hero will have this stage. This is when what some people may call a setback. I believe this is the actual climax of the money hero's journey. Something very challenging can arise, and everything you have learned about money is activated. Your wise elder shows up in full force, and it's the final test. You stay centered, and no matter if you lose all of your money or if something very difficult happens, you will be okay. You have a deep trust that everything is aligned and nothing can take you out of your peace, joy, and confidence. A great example of this is when a millionaire or even a billionaire loses all of their wealth and knows that no matter what, they can create it again if they desire. That's when you're functioning from that wise elder inside. And we'll talk more about that wise elder. Dorothy does this when she goes home and is forever changed, even when everything looks black and white, because it doesn't bother her anymore. Now, that brings us to the very final stage of the money hero's journey, and that's the return with the elixir. And this is when you return to your life a changed person with fresh hope, solutions to problems, new perspectives, and there is a cause for celebration. This is when we rejoice. The enemies and doubters can no longer fit into your life. They just fall away. And ultimately, the money hero returns to their life and will never be the same. And it's at this point that they become a teacher or a wise one for the community, bringing back the elixir or the knowledge and sharing it with others. And a lot of times people don't share their brilliance with money. And I think that's where we don't get to see a lot of money heroes in our life because it's such a secret game. And it's like the rules are unspoken. But the more people we have that have completely healed their relationship with money, the better stewards we will be to the planet, our community, and our families. So these 12 stages, this is the journey. But who are you on this journey? So let's meet the characters in this movie that is called Your Life, and what companions will be accompanying you, and how do you work with them? Each one of the 9 archetypes are developed and strengthened or weakened by our personal money history or mythology. They are influenced by our parents, our family, and our community, as well as like the economic advantages that we have. That also impacts us. So let's meet the 9 players in this play. You know who you are, but pay attention to the shadow money archetypes too, because they might be lurking in your family or even in yourself and you can't see them.